The newest MCU Disney Plus show, Agatha All Along, has been over for a couple of weeks. So today I'm going to give you my ranking of all 13 MCU Disney Plus shows from the worst to the best. Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and welcome to my channel. The MCU now has 13 Disney Plus original shows, including Agatha All Along. So today I'm going to give you my ranking of all 13 of those shows, including Agatha All Along, from the worst to the very best. So let's get into it. In last place, I have She-Hulk, and I honestly don't see this one ever changing. I don't see anything overtaking this one as the worst one. I never think about this show, and it is just not, there's no redeeming qualities about this show to me. It is cringy, it's boring, and it is painfully unfunny most times. All of the jokes are eye-rolling, and it really just kind of makes the whole MCU as a the entire MCU as a whole look like an entire joke, just one big joke. Like if this was the first MCU project I had ever seen, I would never get into the MCU because it really just leans way too much into the comedy and really tries to kind of force feed jokes down the audience's throat. It's got terrible villains, and really the only decent thing about this show is the one episode with Daredevil, and even he is turned into a joke by the whole thing. Leave the fourth wall breaks to Deadpool, Marvel. Secret Invasion. This one honestly hurts me a little bit to put this low on my list because I was so excited for this one. I love Nick Fury as a character. I love spy thrillers, and the premise, the idea for the show seemed really cool. And I think it had a lot of potential. The premiere, even the first episode, really sold me a little bit, and it had a great ending, R.I.P. Maria Hill. So after the first episode even, I was like, wow, this is going to be way different. I think this has a lot of potential. And it completely went downhill every episode after that, I think. The plot, again, got super boring. Gravik is a very weak villain. And then once you get to the finale, it just turns into a big CGI fight that makes absolutely no sense. And again, just feels like a big joke and doesn't add anything and doesn't make me want to go back and revisit it ever. I Am Groot. Now, this isn't really a fantastic MCU show, but it's something simple, it's quick, it's fast. It's basically, if you've never seen it or don't know what it is, it's essentially just these short, like 4-minute shorts of Baby Groot doing these different like side quests. Essentially, it's just another kids animated Disney Plus show that I'm never gonna rewatch it, and I'm probably never going to like willingly watch it again. But for what it is, it's simple, it's kind of entertaining. It's just these quick, like 3-4 minute shorts, and who doesn't love more Baby Groot, right? Echo, another one that I think had a lot of potential and I was pretty excited for. I enjoyed seeing Maya Lopez's character, Echo, in the Hawkeye series, and I really enjoyed her character in that, so I was very curious to see what the MCU was going to do in one of her own shows. And the fact that it was TVMA, it was getting more into the realm of what Daredevil did. I was like, okay, this is exciting. I think this could be really good. But at the same time, I was very worried for this show because it was only 5 episodes instead of the usual 6, and they were dropping them all at once. It was the first time Marvel had ever done that. And unfortunately, my worst fears did come true, because while we get to see more of this character, and I really do love Maya Lopez as a character, I don't know the actress's name, but she does a great job. She plays this role very well, and I think if they can do it well, I would love to see more of her in the future for sure. But with it only being 5 episodes, it really quickly feels very rushed, especially in the last 2 episodes. There's some super badass action, especially in the first half of the show, Kingpin, again, Vincent D'Onofrio absolutely crushes it in this role, and he once again proves he is a threatening villain that's willing to do everything it takes to get what he wants, and he doesn't ask for anything, he takes what he wants. And I think the action and Kingpin as a villain are the best qualities of the show, and when they're in the forefront, it's great. But very quickly, the finale, I would say the last 2 episodes feel very rushed and don't really amount to anything. It kind of feels like we're building to something much bigger this whole show, and the finale just felt very anticlimactic to me. Miss Marvel, another one that I put off for a very long time. I actually just watched this show for the first time a couple of weeks ago, leading up to doing this ranking, and I actually enjoyed this show quite a bit. Iman Vellani, I think is her name. She is awesome as Miss Marvel. I love her character a lot. She's super charismatic and just a really enjoyable character to watch. And I liked the more small scale of this show quite a bit. I think there's some cool things they do with it. I think it's just fun to watch her go on this adventure, learning more about her backstory, her lineage, and getting to know how to use her powers. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with it. It's not one that I'm ever going to want to revisit a lot, but I do think for a one-time watch, there was quite a bit of fun to be had with it. Agatha All Along, this was quite a pleasant surprise for me. While it is slightly lower on this list, I didn't absolutely hate this show. I actually quite enjoyed most of it. I was very worried that with all the title changes that had gone through throughout these couple of years, and with it being this long of a wait between this show and WandaVision, I was very hesitant and didn't really know what to expect, what they were going to get into in this show, and it ended up being quite a surprise to me. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked the kind of spookier vibes they went into with this show, and the idea that every episode was kind of a different challenge, a different trial that these witches had to go through. And there's some fun twists and revelations throughout this show. Catherine Hahn, again, crushes it in this role. Agatha Harkness, I think she's a fantastic MCU villain, and I can't wait to see what they do with her next. The absolute standout from this show for me was Aubrey Plaza. I loved her character, especially in the later half. I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but I loved her in this show. I think she did a great job. So I think there was a lot of fun stuff with this show, but it also isn't one that I'm going to want to go back to that much. But at the same time, I don't hate it. So it is one that I would be willing to rewatch maybe around the same time, like September, October. What If? I really enjoy this one. I think this was the first animated MCU Disney Plus show, and I really like all the premises, the ideas, and just the overall premise of the show itself, and taking what we know from the MCU, certain ideas that we know from the MCU, and replacing it with something else, kind of making an alternate reality, a different like timeline sort of thing. I think that's really cool, and they do a lot of great stuff with it. There's a lot of really cool episodes and ideas in this show. There's a third season coming out this December that I'm pretty excited for. And I just have a ton of fun with this show. I definitely I like some episodes a lot more than others. I think some of the concepts and ideas they go with are kind of weak. But overall, this is a fun show, and I can't wait to see what they do next in season 3. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you had asked me when this show first came out, or maybe even just like a year ago, this show probably actually would have been a little bit lower on my list. I used to dislike it a lot more, but after my most recent watch of it, I had a blast with it. I love the kind of reluctant relationship between Bucky and Sam in this show. I think the two of them have some fantastic moments throughout. John Walker is a great antagonist as the new Captain America, and I can't wait to see more of him and Bucky in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie. I think the overall villain, like the Flag Smashers and the Stockbroker and all that, I think those are all pretty weak, but I think everything else in this show kind of makes up for that. There's some fun action, and we get more of Baron Zemo. Daniel Bruhl absolutely is great in that role as well. So I think there's a lot of fun stuff to like about this show. WandaVision, the one that started it all. This is one of my most watched MCU Disney Plus shows, and I quite enjoy it. I think I like it maybe a little bit less every single time I do watch it, but I do think there's a lot of great stuff in this show. I think it was a fantastic first Disney Plus show, kind of showing a new thing that the MCU could do, and I like the kind of variety that this show shows off. Just the idea of this kind of being a fake reality set up by Wanda just to get Vision and have a reality where she can have a family and be happy. Catherine Hahn is introduced as Agatha Harkness. Like I said earlier, she's a great villain, and I love seeing her in this show, seeing how she progresses, and I just love, like I said, with variety, this show does so many different things. The first two premiere episodes are like a 50s, 60s sitcom, like the Dick Van Dyke Show. And then later on, you have more of a kind of breaking the fourth wall office type episode. And there's just different things that they do throughout the 9 episodes that I really enjoy. And I think it's a very solid finale with the final conflict between Wanda and Agatha. Moon Knight, again, another one that jumped way up on my list since the last time seeing it. Oscar Isaac absolutely crushes both of these roles, playing the dual personality of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant. He's fantastic in both of them. I think he plays it very, very well, and I would love to see more of this character in the future. Just the first, especially the first half of this show, is so great. I think some of the best TV content, at least that the MCU has to offer, and it's just so fun seeing Oscar Isaac playing these two personalities. And we start off with Stephen Grant as the kind of main character, and he's slipping in and out of time. He's waking up in different places. The mystery of why he doesn't sleep at night and why he has all these kind of safety restraints in his bedroom. I love all of that. Ethan Hawke is great as Arthur Harrow, our kind of villain of this show, and I think he does that role very well. I love to see him. I love Ethan Hawke as an actor, and I almost kind of forget that it is Ethan Hawke, and then I look at the cast and I remember, and he's so great in this show. Everything with Khonshu and just like the old Egyptian gods, I really like. The score is fantastic. The cinematography is great. There's some really great action with Moon Knight as a character, and I just love this show. And the second half always loses me a little bit, especially the finale. The finale loses me every single time a little bit. It's still enjoyable, but definitely the first half is what I come to this show for. Hawkeye, one of the biggest surprises. I remember enjoying this show a fair amount when it first came out a couple of years ago, but I do not remember it being this good. I don't know if it was just because it was almost like watching it for the first time because I haven't seen it in a while, but my most recent watch of this show bumped it way up for me. I love just the overall vibes of this show. I'm a sucker for the Christmas holiday vibe in movies and TV, so I think that definitely brings it up for me quite a bit, and it gives our characters a time constraint and a genuine goal in this show, because Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is trying to get everything done that he needs to so he can get home in time for Christmas to see his family, because he promised his family he'd be there. And it gives them a genuine purpose. The relationship that he creates with Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld, is great. I think she is fantastic in this role, and how much she grows throughout the show is great. There's some fun action, and just the dynamic between the two of them is what I love so much about this show. X-Men 97, the latest animated Disney Plus show, and I rewatched through the entire original X-Men animated series from the 90s before watching this, and I'm very glad I did, because I loved that original show and it allowed me to enjoy this one even more. I loved seeing more of these characters. The animation is stunning, and you can really tell how much they've evolved, while still at the same time you can tell that the animation has improved. But maybe this was just me, I don't know, but I almost felt like they kind of toned it down a little bit. It still feels like this could have come out in 1997. It still has that not stiff, but you know what I'm talking. If you've seen the original animated series, or if you've seen an animated show from the 90s, you know that kind of look and feel that it has. This, to me, felt like it had that same feel, and so I really enjoyed that. There's so many moments throughout the show. I mean, I think it's a fantastic show. Without seeing that series, I think you could have watched this without seeing the original series, but if you have seen the 90s show and seen these characters grow throughout 5 seasons of television before, there are so many moments in this show that hit so much harder if you have seen so much of these characters and love them. But easily coming in first place for me, my favorite MCU Disney Plus show is Loki. Tom Hiddleston is amazing in this role. I've always loved Loki as a character, and I think after this show, he's improved so much more for me as a character. We've learned so much more about him, seen him grow so much more. I think I would be willing to say Loki is probably a top 10 MCU character of all time for me. I love him as a character. I love Tom Hiddleston in this role, and this could be, season 2 could be the last that we ever see of this character, sadly, but this show ended on such a high note. With season 1, I mean, it continues in season 2 even further, but I love everything they do with timelines and the TVA in this show, everything with what they say with how time works and everything. I love all of that. I love when a show does something with time, and whether it's like time slipping, going back and forth, or doing something different with timelines. I really enjoy that when they do it like this show, where it actually makes sense. It's not overly confusing or anything like that. I love the relationship between Loki and Mobius. Owen Wilson is great in that role, and I love Sylvie, the relationship that they build. And then when you get into season 2, we get Ki Huy Kwan. I'm probably butchering that name, but Ouroboros is a phenomenal character and might be one of my favorite characters in the entire show, to be honest. Jonathan Majors is great as both variants of Kang, He Who Remains in season 1 and Victor Timely in season 2. And like I said, this show ends with such a bang. The last episode with Loki kind of sacrificing himself to hold the timelines together, stop them from collapsing and branching out. And I just really enjoy this show. It's the one that I'll probably be most eager to rewatch in the future, and I just love everything they did with this show. So for me, it comes in at number 1. So there you have it. That is my ranking of all 13 MCU Disney Plus shows. I did not mean for this video to be nearly that long, but if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. What is your ranking of the MCU Disney Plus shows? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll be doing this video again in December when What If Season 3 comes out, along with a bunch of other content around then. And I have a ton of other content coming out this month, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, if you're new here, like this video, subscribe to my channel, help me reach my goal of 350 subscribers. It would really mean a lot. And keep watching movies and TV.